just writing some down here. All right. I almost forgot my intro. Hey everyone, and welcome to the 75th episode of We're All in the Same Boat. It has been a while, but we're back. I'm your host, Luke Roxfold, and today I am here with Austin.
Hey.
Jordan.
Live long and prosper.
And Shayne.
It's 2019.
2019! Woo! It is the new year, the first episode of the new year, and it happens to be the 75th episode. That's kind of cool. If you want to follow us on Instagram, you can follow us at WAITSB Podcast. We do a lot of pictures and polls and stuff like that. So if you want to participate in this podcast, you can follow us on there and send us a message. And we might even talk about what you message us about. Honestly, if you guys have stuff to say, I would love to repeat it on the podcast. We just need to hear from you. So you can also go to iTunes. We're all in the same boat, and give us 5 stars to review us. All you have to do is go to the iTunes app, search for our podcast, or sorry, not the iTunes app, the podcast app on iTunes. Man,
check out our
podcast app on the iPhone. Search We're All in the Same Boat. Scroll down to the bottom and hit the 5 stars. That'd be awesome. You guys would be awesome. Guys, welcome to the podcast. How was your week?
Can I open this with a confession? Because you just mentioned iPhone.
Oh,
so
no.
I'm pretty sure that I'm going back to iPhone when I get my next phone. I'm giving up the Android life.
Team iPhone.
Not for me.
Wait, why?
I don't know. I've had no real different experience than I would have had with an iPhone, and 90% of the people I communicate with have iPhones. Like my entire family has an iPhone. My cousin asked me to FaceTime over like Christmas break, and I said I can't FaceTime.
Can you download Skype?
This phone is stupid. I mean, I like the phone. Like I think I have the Galaxy S8 Plus, but so I like the phone, but it's just, everything I've done on here, I've done on my iPhone, and
right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like team iPhone, anti-Android or anything.
Yeah,
I like
it.
But iPhone just works, so I just keep it.
Yeah, I think it's just, yeah.
And I do like the integration.
iPhone would just make my life easier.
Yeah, because
not saying it's better, it would make my life easier.
It's just like he said, FaceTime. It's like if everyone has iPhone, it's like, oh sweet, we can just really easily FaceTime each other. Nobody has to download anything.
Like that's so the group FaceTime is like.
What, Austin? You're iPhone, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm
Jordan, what are you?
I'm just saying you lied because you really got on Dad because he switched to.
I know, because then our group chat went to now it's all green. Now it's ruined. Thanks, Dad. You just had to go get the I'm fancy with my Android phone. Ruin the whole family thing.
Oh, fancy. There's no real difference.
Jordan, what did you say you were? What's your phone?
I have a Samsung Galaxy Note 9.
Oh, Android.
But it's perfect for what I do.
It's like this, guys. There's nothing. There's iPhone and Android are both good, and then as soon as Jordan's like, "Oh, I have an Android,"
your freaking iPhone prejudice is felt.
We've talked about iPhone and Android so many different times on this podcast.
Yep.
Yeah, we have. It's a debate that'll go on for the rest of the time.
It always comes up.
It's kind of irrelevant, man. It's irrelevant at this point in time.
It is.
Yeah.
They're both practically the same thing. Just which brand do you prefer?
Yeah. So for me, I'm really basic when it comes to phones. So like Samsung, they have. I have a lot of customized features on this phone that I've never once explored or had the thought to explore. And, iPhone, everything is just kind of what it is, and it's like pretty simple.
Right.
And I feel like I'm a very basic person with that kind of stuff. Like I wish I used more of like the custom ability of Android, but so I'm wasting my time having this phone.
Jordan,
I'm not using it to its potential, so I don't deserve.
I'm not worthy.
I'm not
Jordan,
worthy, yeah.
What kind of fancy stuff does your Android phone do? All your customizing.
I love my Samsung laptop, though. I will say that.
That's a whole nother story right there. Those in Mac versus laptop. I'm not in Mac Windows. I'm not even getting started. Anyway, I can.
Oh no!
If I pull out a stylus, I can write on my lock screen, take notes. My pen controls
that's
my
cool that you can do it on
camera
the lock
audio.
screen. Actually, that's
It
cool.
is. It's very handy when I need to jot something down. I don't have a notepad nearby.
Right.
Let's see here. Take a 4K video at 60 frames per second. Let's see. I have a 2K display, basically.
Which phone did you say it was? Samsung what?
The Galaxy Note 9.
9. Yeah.
9. Oh, the Note.
It's got 6 gigs of RAM, so it's stupid fast.
That's something I never even thought about with phones, like how much RAM they have.
You need it.
You know?
You need it for the display and the extra app features.
I mean, hey, I happen to be a computer person, so I know
you
everything about all of this. Just kidding. But I don't even know how much RAM the iPhone has.
It's 4. Their max one so far is 4. I think the XS went up to 6.
Actually, that is something that Apple messed up. I noticed that. I love that I said Apple.
Apple.
Instead of Apple. But that's one thing that they messed up. I can't tell any of the phones apart anymore. Like before it was really simple. It was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5S, 4, like 4S, 6, 6S. It was really simple. And now it's like, oh, this is the iPhone XR Plus. And it's like, and the XS and the X. I'm like, I don't know the difference of these now.
It's all about price. You just pick your price. How much money do you want to pay?
Apple was always so big into saying, here's your 2 options, pick. You know, now they got so many different options.
Here's 4 options. Ooh.
Sure.
Next year, here's 5 more options. But
they're finally compete with Android on options. Oh my gosh.
But that's the thing. It's like if you
someone told me this. Look different-ish. But
the iPhones?
Yeah, it's like they all come out and it's like, okay, but what's my
6-inch touchscreen?
On the keynote, they always introduce it like, look at how insanely different this phone, and it's the same phone.
It's like, what?
It's just like, yeah, but this one's really shiny, and there's a mountain behind it.
We put a silver ring around our fingerprint scanner. Can you believe it?
No, but the thing about it is, there's 2 different sales tactics. One sales tactic is to say, hey, let's say I think this is the example that someone used, so I'm just going to reuse it. You're buying jam for your toast in the morning, and you go to one vendor, and he's like, I got 20 different types of jam that you can use. And then you'd be like, oh man, there's too many options. I don't know which one to buy. I maybe this one, maybe this one. I don't know. And then you walk away and you look over and the other person says, you can get grape or strawberry. And you go, well, I don't like grape, so I'll get strawberry. Done. Then you buy the strawberry. And so it's weird that Apple's going away from that, because now Apple's giving you so many options that it gets too overwhelming. It's like, do you want the 6 or the 6 Plus? Do I want a big phone or a small phone? Well, I don't want a big phone, so I'll get a small phone. Done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's honestly just their market share right now. Android is actually beating out Apple worldwide, so they're starting to try and reclaim a lot of that territory.
That one's
China,
weird though.
India, things like that.
That one's weird though, because so many phones support Android outside of Samsung, so it's obviously going to dominate the market.
Mm-hmm.
But why is were talking?
Would part of that be because Samsung is like a Korean company? So that
Samsung?
Yeah, it's South Korean.
I forgot to mention this in the last podcast. I can talk about this now because it's relevant. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I just was wondering if it's one of those things where it's more popular outside the United States just because it's not, from the United States.
It's price. You can get an Android phone for $50 all the way up to $2,000. So
right. Yeah. So here's the thing: in South Korea, Samsung is so insanely huge. And I know what you're thinking.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, duh. No, they have like houses. There's like Samsung houses in South Korea.
What?
Like they own, like Samsung owns neighborhoods that are insane. Samsung neighborhoods.
Do their employees
they have medical centers. Samsung has universities. They have a funeral.
Oh.
This is what Amazon and Apple will be in a few years. They'll just it's called
random things.
Well,
I think I've been watching
insane.
too much Cyberpunk because this is not something that really surprises or impresses me.
Wait.
A corporation owns everything? Huh?
Wait. What's this thing you're talking about?
I'm just saying, like, I've probably been watching too much dystopia and cyberpunk and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, Samsung owns everything in South Korea? Yeah.
Not surprised.
Figures.
Their healthcare plan's better than Blue Cross Blue Shield. What are you going to do? You pick Samsung.
It's so weird, though, because can you imagine just moving into the Samsung apartment complex?
I mean, if it was dope, I wouldn't mind.
You walk in there, and then to sign in, there's an iPad.
Can you imagine?
What is this? All of a sudden, the Samsung police department shows up and just guns it down.
Oh my goodness!
Can't have that here.
Can you imagine? You go to an Apple apartment building and you get 2 choices of apartments: 800 square feet and 1,000 square feet. and the price difference is the magnitude of like $3,000. All the same color, all the same countertops, everything's the same.
It's like, my fridge, I need a bigger fridge. No, the fridge is going into the wall.
Sorry.
You can't, the fridge is connected to the wall. You can't take
You
it.
need
The
to
fridge
keep
is the
less.
wall.
You don't need a bigger fridge. You need to keep less food.
It's like, oh no, my fuse blew. All right, you got to replace the apartment. We got to
The whole thing has
do the
to
whole
go.
thing.
Oh, we have to replace the entire roof. Sorry, you have to buy a new apartment. We don't fix that.
Really, there's a leak. Can we just plug the leak? No, we
No,
got
you
to
have to buy a
replace
new
the whole.
building.
Yeah, did you get Apple Care? No. Well, yeah, we
The
just
entire
sell the
floor
whole.
turns around with water
That's a
damage.
big one. We
I
don't
just throw
fix
away
that.
my whole apartment. Get buy a new one.
Sucks for everyone else in the apartment.
Yeah.
No.
yeah.
Oh no. Then they build new apartment buildings, and all of a sudden the old part, all the old apartment buildings' power don't work anymore, and like they just start degrading. The water is
Water
like
works
really
half the
shoddy.
time.
The heat doesn't quite work anymore.
They have different electrical outlets.
They overheat and kill their occupants.
Oh yeah. All of a sudden they switch to the UK power instead of the American power. You know, like the frequencies are
Yeah,
different.
they get rid of the sockets.
No, it doesn't work anymore.
Guess you have to buy new wiring too.
I have to buy a new toaster. The plugs don't work ananymore.
Go down to the Apple store and get a new Apple toaster to fit in your new Apple apartment.
Well, we have adapters for all this stuff. It's fine.
Oh, good, the dongles, the never-ending
right.
dongles.
We have
I have a
dongles.
headphone
It's
jack. That's
fine.
also what I have.
Oh, yeah, but
went
that's
there.
old. See, the thing is, I know. I was saying this 2 years ago or more than 2 years ago when the iPhone 7 first came out without the headphone adapter. It's like, look, they're all going away. I promise. Every phone is not gonna. No phones
Oh,
are
you're
gonna
not
have.
totally wrong.
And I've been saying that for like
That
more
would be
than
a
2 years
terrible
now.
idea. You have. I remember.
Yeah, and
We're
it's gonna
not-
happen. It's gonna happen.
It's not there
Everyone's
yet.
gonna get Bluetooth.
It shouldn't.
Look,
Just like
Bluetooth
Apple's going
works.
to own everything.
That's like
Yeah.
someone saying,
Wanna
like,
know why?
we should have had
Wanna
wired
know
phones.
why? Because
Why?
I just went to the gym the other day and my Bluetooth headphones died and I did not have my aux cord with me and I was sad because then I had no music.
Yeah, but
So
that
if my headphone, if my headphone, if I had the option, like I would have been able to plug it in. But if I didn't have the option because my phone did not have an aux cord, what would I do?
Did you have USB plugs in your car?
Yes.
Then you could have charged your headphones on the way to the gym.
well, I mean, the whole idea is that in
No, but I
5
didn't
years,
know- I didn't
in
know it was
five-
dead,
Hold
so
on, in 5 years,
dying.
the
That's a fair
headphones.
point.
In 5 years, headphones will last for like 50 hours or something.
That'd
Like
be
it's,
great.
it's
Dude,
gonna get
no.
better. Like
It's gonna be
I
a
bought like a
magnitude
little
like 10.
I bought like a Bluetooth speaker
Fantastic.
that I have, and it's battery powered, and the battery lasts for like 10 hours.
Oh, yeah, it's
You know?
awesome.
So like obviously Bluetooth headphones aren't perfect yet, but they're just gonna keep getting better because people are
It's
gonna
also
want.
an audio quality issue. You can still get better audio out of wired headphones because of the amount of information that's able to
Yeah.
transfer.
Really?
At speeds.
I didn't think that
Yeah.
was true.
No, it's true.
I
You
just saw
can
a
if you
whole
have
thing on-
like heavy duty super headphones.
Oh
but
no,
the,
any headphone
the
is still
Apple
superior.
no, there's no way that the Apple headphones sound better than like
No, they
Bose
do.
wireless.
Oh no, 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 no! I didn't say
every-
that.
no.
I didn't say
I don't
that.
believe you.
I didn't say that.
But you're saying that
He is saying in terms
Look,
of
standard base level Bluetooth headphones. Let's say like
Yeah.
LG Tones versus the wired Apple or wired Samsung earbuds. The wired ones will sound better. You can notice it if you really pay attention.
I
you'll
don't
notice
know. I mean, I get in theory what you're
It.
saying.
You can test it. I've tested it. I've tested
okay.
it. With
no,
I don't know.
I think
I'm-
my music sounds
I get
better
it.
with the
Like
cord.
I understand it.
It's just a bitrate information thing.
Yeah, I mean, because I understand all that, but I mean, Bluetooth has a high bit rate,
Yeah, it does. It does. It's
and you're saying
just-
it's because it's analog, but it's analog
It's just-
that's getting converted from digital.
It's like a 2% difference. It's nothing ultra crazy. It's just slightly there. If you're an audiophile, you'll
right?
notice
Because
it.
I understand it in the sense of like video quality. So there's like 10-bit video and 8-bit
Correct.
video. And 8-bit video, you guys like nobody would be able to tell the difference between 10-bit and 8-bit video. But when you start doing color correction, you can. That little bit of
Exactly.
information makes a big difference. However, okay, I
I-
just
you
know.
can try it out, man.
I don't even know. I mean, here's the thing. I'm a little skeptical, but I also don't know what I'm talking about this because I've never looked
No,
at it.
I didn't believe it either. I did about 3 hours worth of research finding
Well,
out
if you
this was
have
even true.
if you have analog headphones that are really nice, if you got the best analog versus the best Bluetooth, I think the best analog would sound better. It's like a record
It'd
player.
be a freaking tight race.
Yeah, I don't know.
From what I've seen, the analog
On
does sound
average.
better, but standard Bluetooth to standard wired Wired will sound better. There's something.
Yeah.
There's more life.
Here's
to
the
it.
thing, though. Then you get these nice headphones, whether they're Bluetooth or analog, and then you stream your music. So it's like, okay,
Yeah,
who
exactly.
even cares?
You're
It doesn't even
compressing
matter.
it digitally. I know it's the whole.
You're not
thing's
listening
insane.
to lossless audio.
That's why. This is why I agree with you. If you're going to use Bluetooth headphones, it's imperceptible. You really,
Right.
really have to be into sound to go. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I can notice
it's
it
just
'cause
so
I've done
kind of
big
crazy.
sound engineering.
I guess it makes sense. Digital versus audio like that. But yeah. So
no, I
anyway, I
agree
wrote
with
this. I wrote this down in my notes for the last podcast, but we never got to it about the Samsung. They're called it's CHAEBOL. And I think I wrote down. I forgot.
What?
I wrote down how you say it, but I don't want to say it wrong, so I'm gonna look it up again. Like the way you say it.
How do you spell it?
It's a Kybal, is what it's called, and it's
Kybal.
it's a large industrial. What's that say? Oh, come on! Stop giving me words I don't know. Oh, yeah, it's like this big area that's like run and controlled by an owner or family in South Korea, and the owner would be Samsung.
So what? Kybal?
Kybal, so it's CHAEBOL. And so, like I said,
there it
there's a Samsung University, there's a Samsung Funerals, there's medical
gosh.
centers that are Samsung, apartment buildings that are Samsung. It's like, because Samsung, it says Samsung accounts for 15% of South Korea's entire economy. It's insane. Like, that company dug South Korea out of the ditch.
This is very. I'm just reading the Wikipedia article about this. This is a very cyberpunk sort of thing.
What's this cyberpunk thing? I didn't quite get
The
that.
Kybal. So cyberpunk is the idea that in the future there is no government, corporations control everything, and so it would be like the police force is really just like private security that one company hires to protect their assets.
Similar
And
to
then-
Ready Player One.
Yeah, maybe I haven't actually seen that. So,
And it's very
I-
similar to what you're talking about.
and then I'm trying to think what else there's, but sometimes they have like. Usually, in a video game, the main character would be somebody who is not owned by any corporation, and they're kind of like a freelance person who does their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think. Blade Runner is an example of cyberpunk in film.
Okay.
So if you've seen that, that's one implication. One kind of.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept. I mean, it makes sense because like more stuff like that is like that than you realize. Like, you look at the Staples Center in LA. It's like, oh, Staples owns that. They built that stadium, and like the Lakers and all that stuff play there. And so it's the same sort of concept where they own the apartment complex, and then people pay to live there. They invest in it or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe like, I wonder if more companies will get into that idea. I wonder if Google is going to go, all right, well, we've got all this other stuff going. Let's
Google's basically
let's get
like
into have real estate.
Google
Yeah.
House.
Yeah, it'll be like,
dude.
Google will own the campus. They'll own the building you live in. They own the bed you sleep on. Then you go to work at Google.
They wear
And
the
then they
clothes.
feed
Those
you.
are the benefits.
They
just
own
like-
the clothes you wear.
This
Oh,
is Ready
no.
Player
Google
One,
Cloth.
like, word for word.
Google Thread.
It's gonna be crazy.
That is a great device name. Google Thread.
Yeah,
Oh, they
that is-
probably already heard it and stole it. So
Gosh dang it, Luke.
It's like, who owns Discord? Damn it. They just stole our idea. Immediately,
No.
as I'm looking it up, it already has a patent on it.
right.
Oh, man. Google
question
automatically
is-
patents it.
See, my
I don't even
concern
know
is
what it is yet.
what would it do? Because my concern would be that Google Thread would have something so that one, they can monitor what you're saying. Two, they
You
have
mean what
something
they
so
already
that
do now?
no, but two, the other part of it. No, that's not the scary part. The scary part would be is if they make it so it can tighten, so they can constrict you if you're saying things they don't like.
Oh, no. It's like it
This
goes
is
around
not a
your throat.
literal thread. This is a device name that doesn't exist.
Do you guys consider Google to be like a massive monopoly?
Yeah, they are, obviously.
I am leading the witness, obviously, with that question.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It does control a lot, Google.
Google is in everything. I mean, they're a monopoly.
Yeah.
They have to be.
They are.
I don't know if it's
or at least on their very good way to be.
Is Google bigger than Verizon?
It's an oligopoly at least at this point, which is a step below a monopoly when it's like you got like 5 or 6, maybe 4.
Look,
2 or 3.
if
But
I can agree with
it's
that.
pretty
the
close.
FCC wouldn't let Verizon and freaking AT&T merge, they need to break up freaking Google. Google is arguably bigger than both.
Yeah. Well, the weird thing about
Combined.
Google, if most people would say, "Oh, Google's like, oh, it's a search engine." It's like, "Oh, Google's like," it's like Google's a lot of things, but what
Google's
Google is
a
primary,
lot.
Google's an advertising company.
Yeah.
Like at its core, that's what it is. That's where it makes most of its money. It's through advertising. Just like Amazon, I think Amazon makes most of its money from its web services. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I think you're right.
I
Yeah,
think that's
'cause
true.
they got into cloud technology
Yeah,
way before anybody
AWS.
else did. Way before.
Let me see if I can look this up. Amazon
Because I
primary.
know the store makes some money, but it doesn't make them that much in
No,
comparison.
not that much. Yeah, it's not. It's not that much, surprisingly, because of Prime and stuff. It's kind of like
Right. Well, they can afford to take a hit. They just want people trafficking and using their
Yeah.
website for their video and their
I'm trying to
stuff.
see if I can find this information.
By the way, can we just say how tragic it is we don't have drones delivering packages yet? I'm so angry. Okay, not that angry.
Okay, so it
Yeah.
does make
I
a
don't know
lot of
how
money
we feel.
from. It looks like it says. Oh no, maybe it's not as much. Maybe I misheard that. I could have sworn that.
It's a
lot
good
of their-
chunk.
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking at billions,
Yeah, it's,
it's harder because
What's
it's like,
a lot?
oh yeah, it's only $20 billion goes to AWS. You're like, only 20 billion.
That's it.
That's it. Whatever.
Okay, maybe that was misinformation, but I don't know. That's okay.
I'm happy if I have $100 in my bank account at the end of the month.
Well,
Right.
now Google is definitely going to kill us all.
That's fine.
This is fine.
I'll
As
be
our house is-
reborn as a robot in the future.
Oh, that would be
anyway.
the awful thing about having Google own your home and stuff is that Google's like,
the terms and services.
yeah, all of a sudden, yeah, you sign the terms and services. Then all of a sudden they just ship you out of the building. Like they
goodness.
just
We
they
own
just
your
send
bodily
you away.
fluids.
They just
no.
ship you off.
Oh no.
I mean, that's what
That's
I was
not the
trying to
worst
get
thing
at
that could
earlier. Well, yeah, they could make your clothes kill you, like I was talking about earlier.
So hold on.
What? Then they
yeah,
don't have a
yeah.
customer base.
All of a sudden they're like, hey, this is a feature we like to call individual Google thread. It's like, what do you mean? And all of a sudden your clothes just wrap around you and tighten, kill you. Why, Jordan? Why is Apple losing money?
Well, the trade war between China and the U.S. is costing them money. Their sales are down by basically 100%. That's to the point where
Too many options.
they're going to fall short of their projected goals by $5 billion.
Wow.
$5 billion they're not getting. Their sales are down in Germany over a patent dispute with Qualcomm.
You said
they
the trade
basically-
war between the U.S. and China. In what way does
Correct.
that affect Apple?
Well, one, it's their profit margins on those phones, and two, customers aren't buying since the government's so
Well-
tied into their economy over there.
In
Their
China.
sales are down 20% in China.
Right.
It's
Okay.
a crazy number.
Yeah. What's their? I'm trying to think of what percentage
Sorry, let me
because
pull it
$5
up.
billion we just established in Amazon. That's like, oh, it's only 12
That's
billion.
chump change to Amazon.
What? Yeah, is it pennies?
it-
but like, what
it's a-
percentage is it down?
Give me a
Is it
second.
100%? There's no way it makes $5 billion.
Google decided to
That's not
update the article, and now I've lost it.
Oh,
See, Google
would they do
Note.
it?
I told you they're listening.
I
heard
know,
us.
like, don't talk
Google's
about it.
pissed that we're
talking
spilling the
about them,
beans about their
right?
new houses, so they're messing everything up now.
It's like, how do they know?
Let me see. Let
I'll
me just
find
see
it in a
Apple
moment.
stock. Has it
Apple
changed?
stock took a hit too. That's pretty obvious from.
It's always so hard to read stock, though. You know how it changes. So, whoa! Actually, it did drop a lot on.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, it dropped. Wait, is that a lot? Let me see. Oh, it's always impossible to tell. You look at it and you're like, whoa! It dropped off a cliff, and then you zoom out to 1 month and it literally hasn't moved at all.
Exactly.
It's been going down though, but now it's going up a little bit. It's just, I don't know. I'm not a huge stock person. I kind of wish I was. Stock is how. I clicked year to date and it just disappeared, and I was like, oh yeah, because it's January. There's no information. No, but stock is how the rich get wealthy. Is known as.
Yeah.
Man, Apple is just going down though. Like I'm looking at their peak. Wait, let me look. Yeah, it is going down quite a bit. And it doesn't surprise me. It's like I don't like Apple as much as I used to because I don't think they're doing very well. They're not innovating the way I like them to innovate.
No. Well, their fan base doesn't really want innovation. They want the same thing with slight tweaks every year, but that's starting to fade. Apparently.
Just like everyone else with everything else.
Yeah, it's true. You're not special, Apple.
I will say, being biased towards Samsung, Samsung is getting ready to release their folding display phones.
Oh, really? So it folds in half?
Folding display.
Yeah, so the screen will fold in on itself, so your phone
Wait
will
a
go from like a 6-inch device to 8+.
That's
What is
turn it
this
from a phone to a
picture?
tablet.
It's folding it in half.
Oh my gosh!
What? It's like, what does this look like? It looks like a ruler, like a plastic ruler where you're just bending it. It's a phone.
Yeah,
What
it's
is
gonna be like a
this?
$2,000 phone.
What would you do with that? Why would you want it to fold like that?
It's just innovation.
So you could
it's like the
slap
first
someone
generation.
with it?
Well, think about it.
Pow!
How many times have you seen like a futuristic movie or TV show and someone has one device and then with a flick it turns into a completely different? I mean, it's just cool. I don't think it has any real practical uses other than being able to switch to video and entertainment, to watch it and consume it more comfortably.
Consume
again-
it, meaning you eat it.
Yeah, I can consume it. Yeah, I eat it.
Consumption.
Doesn't everybody?
That's so weird.
So that's why they
Flip
call
phones
it
are coming
Apple.
back. Yeah, so what it looks like... So what
Yeah.
it looks like is... It looks like a flip phone.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's like bendy. So it's almost like a regular phone. Just picture like an iPhone or a Samsung for that matter, because it is. Just picture like a regular phone, and then just take it with your hands and bend it inwards. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it's pretty
Oh
cool.
man, they're showing it unfold like a book.
Uh-huh. So take an 8 or 9-inch tablet, fold it in
This
half, and then it's
Is funky.
Uh-huh.
This looks like modern art.
It doesn't it?
Yeah.
It
This
looks
is
like
so weird.
what's his name? Salvador Dali's melting clocks.
Hey Shane, are you sure you want to switch back to Apple?
I mean, I'm not gonna pay absurd amount of money for a phone that can fold.
Yeah, really. That's
Not
what I
yet,
felt
it's
about.
not.
That's what I felt
Not
about
yet.
the Edge.
No, I just wouldn't.
Was
do
it the
that.
Edge? Which was the one that had the screen that went over the edges?
Yeah,
the
the
Edge?
Note 9. Most of the Samsungs actually have edge screens now.
Yeah, but those are also
All of them do,
gimmicky.
actually.
I don't understand the point.
It's just a feature. I have edge people, so with my thumb I can click a little tab, and then I have access to all my important contacts,
Do
important
you
apps right by my
guys
thumb.
have pop sockets?
Used to.
No,
Have you? Okay.
I bought one.
I've
for my
never
wife
had
for
one
Christmas.
ever. Ruji has one, and she tells me she's going to get me one. I don't even know if I'm going to use it, though. A pop socket.
Give it a shot, man. It's removable. It doesn't damage anything.
It's like, oh, now it's fastened to your phone. Your phone's ruined forever. You can never take it off. But I've never had one. They seem very, I don't know.
All it does is
it's-
just help you
it's more
not drop
comfortable.
your phone, right?
I'm too old. I'm
Just
getting
don't
too
drop your
old
phone.
for this stuff. I'm getting to the point where I'm getting
Oh.
disconnected from the youths.
The youth.
Yeah, TikTok. Do you want to have
Hang out
TikTok?
with, you gotta hang
No.
out with the kids, Luke.
What is TikTok? I haven't heard of TikTok.
It's the
Yeah,
same
see?
thing as Musically, if you know what that is.
Except it's actually kind of funny.
no.
TikTok is
I
kind
mean,
of funny.
from what I saw of it, it seems to me like it's basically just Vine again, isn't it? But, like,
It's got
what's-
some little things about it that make it better. So it's like Musically, where you can record yourself lip syncing to something, but then
Oh, I've
people
seen
can
it,
react to it
yeah.
at the same time.
yeah.
So anything that's
good.
serious, people make fun of, and it's got more dynamics to it.
Just another way for kids to be toxic.
That's right.
That's so
Just another way for
pessimistic.
kids
Oh
to
my
ruin
God.
their lives by doing dumb things on the internet. It's great. That we can make fun
Honestly,
of them.
I have conversations with kids every day, and they tell me like I know all of like this stuff that's on like the internet and that they're into. I'm like, you people are interesting.
You are getting old. That's how you
This
know
is
you're
yeah.
getting
So
old.
this is it, dude. This is
Yeah, I'm like, this is what you guys do for fun. Like, this is what
Yeah,
your
but see,
conversations
don't you
are
understand?
about.
Like this is that slight like easing into. Wait, I just
But,
became old. I'm old
what
now. That's
What
it.
did someone say to me? Crap. Someone said some like slang phrase, and I said, what does that even mean? Hold on, see if I can remember.
Yeah, there are those phrases that these kids today are saying that I don't know because I'm old and I don't know.
Look, we're not that old. I'm 20.
I wish I could
27.
remember,
You're
but
25, 26. We just don't want to keep up with it anymore.
I know,
not-
but
it's not that
that's
we're
what
old.
But
It's
that's
just-
what happens.
There was
just-
just a
we
serious
have adult lives.
decline in a generation. That's like very sad. That's all.
It's
okay,
Shane,
the one
no,
after
but
the
that's
other.
what
We came from a
every
better
single.
we came
That's
from
what
a
every.
better
Well, that's what every single old person has said the entire since the history of the world.
Yeah. I don't think there's an actual
That's
decline.
not true.
It's just a change
I don't
in
agree with
climate.
that. But
Well,
I think it is true.
There's
Every
I
generation
think,
said that.
but what I mean is that this generation is the first generation really. I mean, I guess ours. Well, not really ours, I guess. But they're the first one that are like they're growing up with all of this stuff. Like they don't know a life without all of this stuff. Like
Pre-internet, you mean?
before,
Without technology.
before, we've all gone through those things. Like older people have gone through those things, so it's easier to be like, oh yeah, life was better back then because life was all the same. Life's very different now. So that's why I think that it's.
I disagree with you. I don't think life is different. What we have is access to a large amount of information, and how you process that
Not
changes.
different. I don't mean different for us. I mean it's a different way of growing up. Is what I'm saying.
Correct.
Well,
yes.
I had someone. I was talking to somebody
every
about.
generation.
That's true.
In
Yes,
some
but
ways,
I think
in some
this
ways.
is- I
Well,
think
like,
this is
like if
very
you go back
different
far, if you go back to the
what we
Greeks and
used
stuff,
to.
it's like, well, when I was a kid, we didn't even have plumbing. It's like, but that's not as significant as
Spots in
when
history.
I was a kid. I never had something in my pocket that could tell me anything that I want to know at any time, all the time.
Right.
I have access to everyone in the world
Yeah.
all the time. Like that's pretty significant. However,
I have a book that's basically a Roman talking about like back in the good old days, the military did things right.
Oh no.
right. Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be that viewpoint. I'm just saying that the difference between our generation and the last one is pretty extreme. The only thing I was going to say, though, is I was talking to somebody about mental health, like headspace and medication and stuff like that. And in general, I feel like you should avoid it. I think you should avoid medication if you can.
I agree.
I'm not saying you shouldn't ever have medication. However, they did make a good point, and they said, well, yeah, but the only counter that they said that the counter that they had was we are so unbelievably overstimulated all the time
Yep.
that it's very possible that the reason so many people need medication is because our brain just can't handle it. It's just too much. It's like screens and messages and thoughts and the news and like just our phones and refresh and new things, and it's just too much. And so I did think that was a good point, because I was saying why if people always needed medication and just didn't have it,
Oh no.
or do we need it now for some reason? Like, what's the reason? And they brought up that point. I was like, that's a good
Well,
point.
you can look at diet. You can look at health. You can look at
Diet, I do
screen
think is a big
time.
part of it.
But if you look at the last 100 years before, okay, let's go 70s to 80s. I mean, American life hasn't really changed except for tech. Tech's the only thing that has rapidly evolved over time, and then that's changed our industry and our economy.
And
think
gas
it-
prices.
I think another part of it
Well, yeah.
is. I think another part of it is the. I need to be careful how I say this, but basically, you have people don't have to give out their identities on the internet necessarily, so they can
Right.
be a bit more open about what they really think about things. Whereas in the past, you kind of had to curb your behavior a bit more. Whereas
Right.
you don't have to do that as much now because there's a screen protecting you from any backlash, for the most part.
Right. But it also means you're more accessible to criticism too, because as soon as you do
because
anything,
I was
the
gonna
entire
say-
world, it's like
No,
everything you
it's-
say,
yeah.
the whole world can hear it.
And
Yeah.
it's saved forever. Like, you know what I
But
mean?
that's if they know you're saying it, though. Because
What do you mean
True.
exactly?
well, you can have a screen name where it just not put your actual identity out there, and then
Yeah, true. It's harder to do that now because everyone seems to have
it
everything
is.
tied to everything.
yeah, it is harder now than it was a couple years
We'll
ago.
find you.
VPN or two and a fake name. You're good on Twitter for a while.
Yeah.
Like, who has the time for that? Like, what the
That's
heck?
right. Just have a little egg profile. You'll be fine.
This
Oh my
episode
goodness.
of Or on the Same Boat is sponsored by Tunnel Bear.
profile.
They only VPN.
No, it's not true.
No, that's not.
Shoot, what was I gonna say though about the medication? Do you guys think? Crap, what was I gonna ask you guys? It was actually something I was really interested to know. Well, yeah, there's like the overstimulation, and then, the other things are like offices. Like we're keeping everyone inside all the time.
Yeah.
In cubicles, everyone's sitting all the time. People just sit and eat all the time. This is like the
Right.
Joe Rogan viewpoint, you know?
Yeah, I was getting ready to
Which
say
is-
that. That's
But it's
The
a good
American
point.
life.
Yeah, and also, do you guys think that I can see aspects of our culture that are really good in terms of progressing can also be really toxic. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of people
Growing.
brag about perfectionism, like humble brag, like I'm just a perfectionist. I just do everything right. I'm just a perfectionist. When really, in a lot of ways, I think perfectionism is a flaw. I think it's bad to be a perfectionist,
It
almost
is.
in every way. I almost think it's never good to be
It's
a
a
perfectionist.
terrible thing.
Because it just makes you unhappy about everything. Because nothing will ever be perfect ever. There will
I
always
find
be
your
something wrong
opinion
with it.
unperfect and therefore invalid.
Right. And so the mindset I think a lot of times is that I have to be as close as perfect as possible, and then anytime
Right.
I even fall a little bit short, it hits me and hurts me and I get upset, and I don't think that that's healthy. But culturally, I do think we kind of subconsciously push that. And
I want to say that's a human race thing. I don't think that's just our culture.
I don't know. It could be. It could be.
It seems
I
like
don't
it's a
know.
cross-cultural thing.
I don't. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like it depends on the culture because I feel like there's other cultures that push it even more than, like, say, American culture.
So more extreme versions of it. The
Well-
Japanese are a good example.
See, I was hesitant to say that because I was afraid someone would call me a racist.
Wait.
who
What
cares?
what are the Japanese on
What-
average?
The,
My
the Japanese
2%,
culture.
my
I will-
2% Asian is offended right now.
Okay.
Well, you
the,
can tell your Asian little buddy to sit in the
the-
corner.
the Asian populations in general seem to have even more of an emphasis on, like, doing things correctly, doing things.
You better get those straight A's.
Yeah, exactly. We've got that stereotype.
You better
about-
be that
It's not-
doctor.
It's completely real.
You better eat that
Yeah.
rice.
A friend of mine was talking
What?
about how he couldn't marry his wife unless he had a doctorate, or so he owned his own company. He was really successful, and his wife's dad was still unhappy with him until he got some kind of title that proved that he was successful.
Yeah.
And then he was
But I
completely
think,
happy.
don't you think that that's possibly because of the population of China being so large? That,
Japan?
or sorry,
I mean, how else do you stand
Well,
out?
Well,
Asian,
it's the same.
Asian
It's the
countries
same.
in general.
Well, it's the same. Actually, the same because Japan and both China are both very like tightly
Large populated.
populated areas, and so
Yeah.
if you hold up, let me finish. I was just gonna say, like, if you want to stand out, you need to have titles like that because there's too many
Yeah.
people. You can't just be like,
I agree with
hey,
you.
talk to me for an hour, and then you'll find out that I'm smart. It's like, no, I need to see a title, otherwise I'm not even going to talk to you.
It's a race for resources, it's a race for time, and it's a race for respect. So, absolutely.
I think to some extent it's also sort of in history because they're in China in particular there seemed to be a big emphasis on education to gain
Right.
status rather than combat like most of Europe or I don't know
What
much
do you mean?
about Africa.
What do you mean by combat?
Like you become a general, you become a soldier, you work your way up through the ranks, you become a general, and that's how you make a lot of money because you
So,
fight battles, you do looting, and you get lots of.
so honor versus education versus honor.
Experience versus education.
um,
Yes.
Well, it's the honor
Well,
culture, the military honor culture.
I'm thinking. What I was kind of thinking was like sort of intelligence versus physical prowess or power. So
Isn't that true for most countries at this point?
well, yeah, it's
Well,
true for most
At
countries
what
now.
time
But
period?
what I'm saying is like China, it seemed had it like way in the past as well. Like
Oh. So it's like
During
more
what-
ingrained.
during
I
like
agree.
during the
The
Middle
rituals
Ages
were that
and
way.
such.
I mean, you could look at failure. If you failed, you died. If a samurai was had an order, he failed that order, he'd gut himself, and then somebody cut his head off if it was severe enough. So yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, like
So
in,
perfection has been embedded in that culture for.
Well,
Yeah.
the idea of it is
Wow.
that if your mindset is set up is that your core fear is that if I'm not perfect, then everything's miserable. It makes you miserable basically. And I do see that as like some of the episodes on this podcast I knew weren't going to be perfect, but I was like, no, we can't focus on the fact that the episode's not going to be perfect. We got to do an episode. I was actually talking to Ruji about this today, like right before this episode. I was like, I kind of don't know how prepared we are, but we're just gonna go for it. I got as much as I can go off of, and we need to start recording again. And now look, like we're having this great conversation because I didn't let the idea that we're not perfectly prepared get in the way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Heck yeah.
My boss has a really good saying. When you have an event or you have to do something, it's 20% preparedness, 70% action, and the rest just falls into place. Because you can't predict the other 20+% that's going to change. That's whether it's a customer, whether it's technology, whether it's a topic changes. You just kind of have to go with it and go from there.
Right.
The rest of it's taking action and go.
Yeah, I had something I wanted to ask you guys actually related. I can't remember what it was. I do find this stuff to be really interesting though, because like the different cultures and how they kind of interact with each other. And then you said something about I didn't want to bring up Japan or China or any of those like Asian countries because I don't want to sound racist and stuff. And that's what I always think is kind of interesting about certain topics.
Yeah.
Because there's a difference between a topic that involves race and a topic that's racist, or a topic that involves sex and a topic that's sexist. Because sexist implies like a hierarchy between sexes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is. The male sex is way better than the female sex, obviously.
Okay. Okay. All right.
It's very Chinese of you.
Thank you. I'm also perfect, by the way.
Okay. But you know what I'm saying. It's probably not something I want to get into too much, but I do think it's something people need to think about. Because if I was like, oh, well, they do that in China a lot more than they do it here. It's like, oh, that's racist.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
Well, I
it's
think
an observation.
It's
not
not
exactly
racist
racism.
if it's true.
at least
Thank you for backing me up, Shane.
That's what I would say, though. It's not racist.
You have to think about like between the lines what someone's implying. So like a racist joke or a sexist joke, what makes
Correct.
it negative or what makes it bad is the implication that one sex is better than the other, or one race is better than the other. That's what makes it racist, because it's implying hierarchy. You know, and so if someone says a
But
comment
it's a joke also, you know.
that implies
It's the
one
intent
is
of
better than
person
the
behind
other,
it also.
that's
If
what
you're
makes
just
something
telling a
racist
joke.
or sexist or whatever. And I think people need to focus a little bit more.
yeah.
Sometimes like the intent
Correct.
of the joke could be, I am showing you
But that can be taken
how
as
dumb
racist,
racists are by imitating a racist. That could be a joke, you know.
Yeah, well, that's
Wait, it's a
that 5% that get
versus
impacted.
impact, and impact will always win.
Who's
so.
the target? That's what Ricky Gervais always talks about. He's like, who's the target of the joke? So like, let's say I imitate a racist or
Right.
something. I say something racist, okay? But I'm doing it to say, look how dumb racists are for thinking this way. The intent of the joke is to mock racists, even though I technically said something that was racist.
But
It was
we're
to
way
show,
past that point now. We're at
look how
we're
dumb
at the
these
point
people
where people
are.
say,
You see what I mean?
If you even say
It's
the
an
word
imitation
retarded
of
as in
stupidity.
reference to the word, somebody will get fired.
But
like that's where you're at with it now.
Right.
Yeah, I
Right.
do. I feel
yeah.
like there's a problem with this.
Yeah, there's
where
a lot of PC that's a little like annoying, but
there's because you see this a lot if you look in like academic
mean
circles
something
and
else?
stuff, where they're trying to
mean the
change
opposite.
words to like to mean something else. Like for example, maybe not necessarily the opposite, but to twist it. So like they'll say racism is prejudice plus power. So then you have then it becomes like,
Right.
well, only people who have power can be racist. But then they also define what is someone who has power, and you use all these different sorts of I guess you call them
Because
word
you
games
twisted the word around to mean something else.
make certain people where you can't criticize them.
So
Like
power. I mean, racist means
Yeah, 'cause
not
you've taken
racist,
all the
right?
words and you've
Et cetera,
changed them
et
all.
cetera, et cetera, et
And-
cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
We've already kind of gone down
it's-
that road.
I don't want this here. I don't want this turned into a Dave Rubin podcast. But
It
like,
does.
Yeah, we are, and I don't. It just goes on forever. So let's. I want to move on from
Yeah.
this. So
No.
let's see if this topic goes anywhere. Do any of you believe in aliens?
The context he means is
I'm,
intelligent alien life.
wait. Define alien.
Yeah,
That's
clearly
right.
those are aliens.
Someone coming into the country is an alien, Jordan. How dare you say
Yeah, we own the world,
Believe in
so
them.
of course they're American
They're
citizens.
clearly
No.
American. They're clearly American
In-
citizens, Luke.
in
All right, are we talking intelligent alien
what's
life?
the
Or are we
word?
talking
aliens
life on another planet?
in space?
If there's, I do
So
not
do
believe
we-
there are
do we
intelligent
believe
beings
in
outside
other
of our
that's
life
up to you.
forms
What-
Clearly
outside
life
of
on
our
other
Earth?
planets that is not intelligent.
Um,
Bacteria, yeah, that's alien life. Congratulations, we found it.
Like bacteria. Aliens
I
exist.
think-
We
I
solved
think-
the problem. Sorry.
I think that I do believe that there is some other form of life out there somewhere because I refuse to believe that space is so
To
vast
clarify, you mean advanced life?
and we're just by ourselves on this tiny planet. I refuse.
There we go.
Like
No. I
Civilizations.
believe there's some. I
Civilizations.
believe there is advanced life somewhere. I mean,
Just not here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying not anywhere near
The
or
math game.
close to
You're
us
playing the
at
numbers,
all,
right?
but I just
the multitude of galaxies and
you know,
planets and
what would
suns.
be
There
the
has to be
point?
something
I
intelligent
don't know.
besides yourself.
yeah.
Yeah, I just don't see like what's the whole you know what I mean, like what would be the whole point of this thing being created, or however, there's nothing else besides
I know what you're saying.
human beings, and I mean, yes, I mean,
True.
but
True.
even if we were like, I don't know, like why, you know what I mean, like why is space so huge?
No, we're not. We're way
And
better
we're the
than
only
everything else that
things, and
came
we're
before
stupid.
us.
We're a terrible form of existence currently.
Oh, totally win.
That's right. If we had a war against us and the animals, we'd win.
We still haven't beat bacteria like we're working
mean,
on.
animals
Until
are
one of
not-
the animals gives us a disease and wipes us out.
Right. True. Ooh. True.
Why is it? Isn't that crazy that we could fight any
Cheating.
animal
They
and
have
win?
built-in knives and
we had weapons.
freaking hooks.
And then like, 'cause
Yeah, it's cheating.
and we're entitled to weapons because we made them.
Are we?
You know?
Totally, if you go against a grizzly with a knife and
if a
someone
knife,
wins,
That's not
if
true.
a chimp, no, if
That's
a
not a
chimp,
fair fight.
let's say this. Okay, listen. Hold on.
He would.
Hold on. Okay. The point is, if a bear could build a gun, he could use it. But a bear can't do it.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
that's too bad for the bear. So, but if
Pun
I was going to
intended.
fight a bear with my bare hands, and his bare hands, get it?
Yes.
Sorry. So if we were going to fight,
Oh,
it
absolutely.
would be like I would lose. But if we had all of our own devices, no rules, just fight, we would win because we could make weapons and stuff.
Yeah,
However,
but that's not-
the one thing that we can't win against
yeah,
is the
one-
tiniest
one
thing,
tiny
like
smallpox
germs.
virus, you're dead.
Just wipe us out. Just black plague us. Done. We all die.
Ooh.
Because you want to know why? It's because we never see it coming. They have the element of
So-
surprise.
That's true. Gets in. Just
So we can
infects
never
us.
be prepared.
Overall,
Well, that's not true. We can be prepared.
I mean, we can be
if a
prepared. But
virus
what I'm
army
saying
was
is, it's like
intelligent,
you
Put
never know
ourselves
when
into a
this is gonna
Ziploc
hap-
bag.
You just never know
and
when something's going to
suffocate
happen.
ourselves.
So.
You'll never get me. It's like, hold on.
Air
You
got
put
you.
yourself in a Ziploc bag.
Carbon
Like, you'll never
dioxide
get
got
me
you on that
germs, and then you just suffocate.
Mission accomplished. Germs never got me.
Going out on my terms. Yeah, I don't know. I aliens. I don't know.
Well, I haven't answered yet, so
yeah, exactly.
I would love for them to be, if whether or not, I don't really care. But
Until
like,
they zap you up and probe you.
I mean, I don't want to be probed,
All right,
but I
what was
think it
your
would just be
thing?
cool to. If there's an entire like civilization out there somewhere, that'd be like dope. So
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yes or no?
well, I'm of the position that like I can't really say one way or the other whether or not I believe in them, just because.
It's okay to say maybe.
just give your answer.
I suppose I'd have
There
to
you
say I
That's fair.
don't, but I am open to
idea.
evidence that they exist. So,
Okay,
but I'm not.
that's a valid point.
So I'm open to the idea that they exist, but I'm not convinced by any of the evidence I've seen so far.
Yes. Okay, that makes sense. Hmm.
This is a free speech
Fair.
podcast.
So
sir.
yeah,
I'll allow that answer.
This is not your boat. This is our boat.
Like it's not
This
his
one
truth.
time. I know. It's like,
Exactly. Come on, preach about it.
Ooh.
actually,
Yes.
there was a good.
Yeah.
Someone made a good point about free speech in terms
Corporate
of
entity.
like live streams and stuff. Like if you're banning people, then it's like, oh, that's not free speech.
Right.
But it's like, technically anybody's allowed to live
Correct.
stream like on YouTube. But that doesn't mean I have to let other people into my live stream.
And
And so-
also,
Actually, not
you can
anybody.
have free speech. And honestly, you can
Exactly.
have free speech, but like that doesn't mean your free speech doesn't have consequences. There's no
Well-
thing that says you can't be penalized for what you
So-
say.
Right. The
You
issues
say
that
it,
people
go
have with
ahead.
like YouTube and people getting banned from YouTube is that, hey,
That-
you gave us
but there's no
rules and we're
rule.
all following the rules, but then certain people are getting banned, even though we're following the rules.
no.
And so that's like this complaint of like,
But
this
it's
isn't
like-
free speech
so-
because we
But
followed the
it's
rules.
How are you following the rules? Are you following the rules?
Well,
like,
Lee, what do you mean?
yes, but like what I mean is that are you?
No.
You can follow the rules and be a
But
dick.
people-
and you
people
can
are
follow
getting
the rules
removed
and be
for
like a
following
good
the letter of
person.
the law.
So
So you
it's
gotta follow
like,
the
Anything wrong.
rules.
I'm just getting
But if
removed
you're
I
for
can
following
follow all the
a
rules I
different
want to, but I
political
can still
opinion
be
or
a toxic
view or
person.
something. I know. We digress. Chimpanzees.
Crap. We're turning into a Dave Rubin podcast again. Damn it.
So let's get back to this cheating thing with animals.
his podcasts
Why
are
is it
so
cheating if I
boring?
use a
They're
spear,
always the
if
same
a
thing
bear
over and
has a
over again.
freaking
I
nose
was
that
telling
can smell me
someone
2
that.
miles away and has claws and built-in teeth that can eat me if I don't have something to protect myself?
Okay, it's cheating.
Well,
I'm saying it's cheating because then it's not a fair fight. The fair fight.
And I'm
would
using
be,
my genetically
this is
created intelligence to beat the
genetically how
bear.
this
That's
bear is
fair.
created. This is genetically how you're created.
I was
Fight.
genetically
That-
made with a
that's-
good brain.
yeah.
But but what I'm saying is
Uh-huh.
Luke said that if we had a war, the humans versus the
It
animal,
is.
humans would win. And it's like, well, obviously, is that something to even talk or brag about? Because obviously we beat the animals because like what are they supposed to do? Like
Die.
So
they're not
All right.
even as close to being
All right,
as
Shane,
They're
what
like,
would be a fair fight?
Science,
We are.
survival of the
So obviously, your
fittest, and I
opinion
have a
What would make it a
weapon.
fair fight? What would you need to make it a fair
I'm
fight
saying,
between,
if
let's say,
we-
1,000 grizzlies and
What?
1,000 people? Right.
Oh, that would be amazing to watch.
Firstly,
Holy crap.
I want to
Involving you, we're
say
asking what
I
your
wouldn't
opinion
involve
is. What's
myself in
make a
this
fair
type
fight?
of barbarian acts of war.
But
But I'm saying is
act
I
of war.
would find no involvement in this whatsoever. But I mean, I think
and about 1,000
fair,
pounds on me.
The fair point that a bear has like the teeth and the claws
what?
to rip you
No,
apart.
get outta here.
So I do think. I mean, go to the gym. No, just kidding.
That's right.
That's a lot of evolving.
That's right, Jordan.
Golden Corral.
Gain 1,000 pounds of muscle
I do. I
and
think
grow your fingernails out.
some type of
File your teeth down.
medium to short
So I
length
get a 12-inch blade and then
Knife.
versus a grizzly?
type of weapon you can have.
Oh, God.
What's
Why
so
not?
funny?
That's-
What's so
You can get
funny?
like a machete.
Dude,
You can have like a machete. Something
you
like
could
that.
you could take
Then I
the
think that's
biggest.
fair.
You could take the biggest giant human of all
bear's winning.
history. And you jack him up and you give him steroids.
you
and
realize
feed
that
him and you
bears
make him
can
as
rip
strong as possible.
A 1,000-pound animal almost in
gonna
half
go.
with their claws, right?
He's done.
I get a machete and a gym membership? Are you kidding me?
I know.
It will especially.
This is a
What
hypothetical
bear-
situation,
the
sir.
bear-
I'm
the bear-
saying is,
we're
why
having
would you
war
put
games.
yourself in this situation to begin with?
Because we're in war, Shane. This is war.
No.
The Russians
fight
have
the bears.
weaponized
No, no,
bears.
look.
Yeah, we
We're
gotta
at
fight the
thousands
bears.
to go to war.
Bears have decided
Why are we
to
going to
uprise in
war with
Alaska,
the
and they're
animals?
meeting 1,000 humans in a little village. Right now, this is happening. And you're saying everybody gets a machete
Now.
versus bears. The bears win.
Right now, this is
I will
happening.
say, hypothetically,
We're doing it live.
wait. Hypothetically, I will say, if some animal group decided they somehow got the intelligence to uprise like that, I do think the situation would be kind of
They
cool.
just realized they want to attack
because
humans.
then I think
they
it would be fair
they're
because
just
they
in a
would be
group
advanced
attacking.
enough
There's
to be able
there's
to
still
do
animals.
something like that. Then,
Because then they'd be using guns too.
well, then I think. I mean,
Can you imagine grizzlies with like oversized AKs firing like 50 cal bullets?
yeah, then that would be kind of cool.
Dude, a bear with a weapon.
Oh, they'd be holding bear
bullets-
50 cows
the
like
bullets-
just like
the
police
bullets
cars.
would be like they'd be like cannonball sized.
I think the problem would be. Well, actually, the problem with all this is that they don't really have
hypothetically,
hands
bears
that are
can
very
use
good
machine
for
guns.
holding
That's what
guns.
we're talking about here.
That's actually something
Mostly on the
that
trigger.
people were talking about. The reason humans made it so far.
Yes, they have surgery now. They have opposable
Okay,
thumbs.
it's like
So
in this
have they
world-
like modified their forward paws
God.
to have like
They
thumbs?
have hands. Imagine
that
a
is
bunch of bears just with hands, just human hands. Huh?
Ooh, or two, if you can.
Oh yes, I want mech suits.
Like,
Let's
what
do
are
it.
those things? Like
I'll
those
do that.
little mecha suits.
So
like
mini
this. I
Gundam
don't know.
suits versus
Oh,
Grizzlies.
no!
I'm in.
That'd be kind of cool too. Those are that's
mech-
fair. I think that's fair.
A mech bear.
So wait.
No, we do.
You. Okay, I'm not.
It would turn you into a 1,000-pound grizzly versus another 1,000-pound
Is that
grizzly.
what you're saying?
No, we get the mech suits.
be a bear
If
mech
they're-
suit.
if This
Okay.
is the hyper intelligent bears.
Because I'm just sitting here imagining like
Okay,
a
I'm
bunch
sorry.
of
Shayne.
Alaskans with machetes against bears and mech suits.
If there are bears in mech suits,
following
it's
the machete.
already GG. Let's just give up already
That's
because
a really good game.
you know
It's
what?
so fun.
Just
Can you imagine this? Like
throw
all
up the
these.
white flag.
There's a bunch of people that are like, shing, like
Run
pulling all these swords
away!
out and stuff. And then we look over and there's just 1,000 bears in mech
Exactly.
suits. Just come,
Can you cut my head
and
off? I
just
don't think I can do it.
Oh well, we all fall on our sword.
Just wait for the bears.
That's right. That's right.
Mecha bear.
Yeah,
hey,
Death by
it's
Mecha bear.
ballless.
We need to
what
write
a
a movie.
cool way to go though. Death.
Russians
by
create
I got
mecha
mech
bears
to death
and they
by a
attack the United
bear.
States of America.
Mecha Bears.
I'm in.
Bear.
All right.
Instead
you
of
direct.
like
Shayne's writing.
Sharknado, it's Mecha
I'm producing.
Bear.
This is a
Gosh, dang it.
franchise. Discord's gonna steal it.
Franchise.
Their
Yes.
sea-level film
Oh
stolen
yeah,
by
Google's
Google.
gonna steal this
That's
one.
cast.
C film. It's not even
I
a B
think
film.
we
It didn't
should
go well for
cast Leonardo DiCaprio.
Well, he
has
did
a lot
win,
of
actually.
experience fighting bears.
Fighting bears.
So I think he'd be.
That's
he'd
fair.
be-
He's-
That's
hey,
fair.
he
he's
survived.
learned. He's learned, from
He
his
fought
first
the bear
experience.
and he won.
He's
That's pretty good. Now
Which
give
means
the bear a
Let's
that-
back
mecha
to the
suit.
alien question.
And it'll
Who's
happen
gonna
all
win in
over
the fight,
again.
aliens or us?
Round two.
Are we gonna go Independence Day? Or are we going to Doom, where everyone just dies? The alien.
I mean, well, that depends on what the aliens are.
Yeah, because they spread diseases.
The worst
What's
case
here, then?
scenario is actually if the aliens are super primitive, like they have no technology,
Wait, why is that the worst case scenario?
because that
Then
means
we
that
win.
they are that means they're capable of surviving in the vacuum of space without the assistance of any sort of technology.
Look, realistically,
Yeah,
if
but then-
aliens came
then
here,
they're just a
we
bunch
all
of
just die because we
Neanderthals
don't have
just,
immunity
like,
to their diseases.
hey, look at this shiny light.
That's what would happen.
And we shoot them.
Or
know?
they would die from us.
Whoa, wait a second.
Exposure. Correct.
No, but like
they wouldn't be exposed to the
immunities
common
come
cold.
from certain exposure to certain things. The aliens might not be exposed to that yet. So
War of the Worlds.
so why did like we infected
Honestly,
what?
I was gonna say I think that we would find. I think we would find aliens first before aliens would find us because I just don't. I mean, if all the aliens, like all the movies and whatnot,
Resources.
display them as why would anything that advanced want to come to this planet?
They suck our life soul out of our butts.
Tourism.
To
I
probe the
understand,
humans.
but
They've
what?
got some weird
Well,
tastes.
Like realistically
Look.
though, like what? I mean,
How many
what are
movies
you
are
coming
there?
here for? You
I
want to come
don't
to the
know.
beach? Like what?
Tourism.
One's for
To
water,
destroy
one's for
it.
land,
You wanna
one's
come
for
see a movie?
Air.
They're going to make a tourist resort.
It's whatever.
It's just going to be like, look at this beautiful scenery, and there's lots of tasty snacks running around.
It's kind of like if you saw imagine this. Imagine you live on a beach and nobody else is on the beach, it's just you. Okay, you're the only person on the
smash
beach.
that sandcastle.
And then you look over and you see a giant sandcastle. What do you
Well, I
immediately
figured it
want
out.
to do to that sandcastle? I want to kick that sand. You want to kick the
figured it out.
sandcastle over.
Aliens
That's what the
come to
aliens
Earth.
are like. They're like, look
Exactly.
at the green and blue planet.
Aliens come to Earth.
I wanna
because
destroy
what they do is
Look at all
they
those
harvest
buildings.
us every
I
so
just wanna
many
knock all
thousands of
those
years
down.
after our society has been built up, and after we discovered other alien races, they harvest all that organic matter to reproduce themselves. Done. Thank you.
So
Yep.
reapers.
Here's the other thing, though. Okay,
But
you're on
because we're so basic
so,
and we
so
can't
you're
do
on
anything
the
about
beach and you see the castle that you want to
I'm
go
walking away from the
destroy,
castle
and then
and
this
taking pictures of
crab
the
is like,
talking
"Hey,
crab."
you don't get to destroy that castle. This is my castle." You're like, screw. Okay. You're just like, you're not a human crab.
The crab is sentient.
I don't care about
are
you.
you not recording this
You
thing?
either just ignore the crab, or you kill the crab, and then you wreck that castle.
I'm like,
or you
So
take
what?
the crab home to show to
it's like,
everybody
screw
else.
you, buddy.
Hey, look! I found a crab.
crab can talk.
I wrote my name on the crab.
I wrote my name.
I took
on
a
the crab.
permanent marker and wrote it on the crab, and then that's basically what happens to us.
you know,
with
the
the
parents-
crabs.
Tragic.
Your parents are like, you should put that back.
No, this is brilliant. This is
Okay.
tragic. You take the crab with
You
you
do.
because it's
And then
your
you- then you put
therapy
him back in
crab
the
to,
wrong place.
Freaking lobster, not what is it? Red Lobster, and they think it's one of theirs, and they cook it. This is
Red
my
Lobster.
service crab.
A therapy crab.
You go to the bathroom
like
with
a
the tank. You know, you
service
set it by
crab.
the
I have a
entrance
dog, I
near
have
the
a crab.
lobster tank, and they go,
You got
"Oh,
a crab
we
with a
need
leash
another
on it. This is
crab."
my service
Boom.
crab.
And they serve it to you.
Lucas! Crab's like, no! All I want to
God.
do is go back to my sandcastle!
New topic. What? What died?
Man, that's hilarious. Okay, well, something died, so we need to end the episode.
Can I do one more topic?
We always end on death. It's just a rule. The crab.
All right.
Or
All right,
the
we can
human
end it. Or
that
we
got
can talk about a
probed
shrink ray that now
and
exists.
vaporized in the alien restaurant.
Yep. MIT
So-
invented a shrink ray that can shrink things down to nanoscale.
What?
I put the link
Can I
in
buy it?
the chat.
What?
That's the idea.
So I could move
I'm dead serious. There's
and
the
just
CNN
shrink
article
all my
right there.
stuff
Click
and
it.
put it in one suitcase?
The kids got started? Uh-huh.
No, I don't believe you.
It's a real
This
thing,
is
man.
how Honey I Shrunk. What? Yeah. It's gonna go to shrink. Someone's gonna actually zap. I don't believe this.
What?
How do you?
What?
I mean, how do you not believe that can be true?
Quiet, Shane. Nobody
I'm
else.
just
Oh
asking
my
Luke,
God.
how do you not believe something like that can
Insert
be true?
because
Your
this article
excuse.
was written in 2018. It's 2019. Okay.
It's
I believe this.
2019.
It's 2019.
Sounds good.
I don't have time to read this article, guys. We gotta wrap up this episode. This is interesting. I will look it up and maybe we'll talk about it on the next episode. But apparently, you guys can shrink all your stuff. That's awesome. So,
You do
Plugs.
this every time.
Shane.
Oh, I haven't been on the podcast in a while, actually.
Oh, God.
But okay, yeah. I mean, yeah. Hello, it's 2019, so you can check out my podcast. Well, we're kind of on hiatus right now. That's why it was kind of like kind of weird, but no, not a bad thing. I wanted a little time to like reflect on the year and then revamp, for 2019. A lot of cool ideas and things and whatnot. But yeah, so check out the podcast on SoundCloud and iTunes at Pop Talk Podcast. And I mean, yeah, that's all I really have right now. I have other things coming up, but
In the works, as always.
I'll wait. I mean, they're happening currently, but I'll wait. Oh yeah, my Twitter. Follow me in Instagram at Mr. McCatty, MrMCCatty.
This is what happens every time you do your plugs. It's like, I don't have anything. I think that's it. We're good. I'm like, okay, so, oh wait, I have something.
They're very not thought through.
Austin, do you have any plugs?
I have no plugs. I tried to think of
You
something
can
clever to
check
say.
me out on Instagram
This
at
is it.
Jordy Locks. Also
not
on
clever.
Facebook. It's just me, though.
Jordan,
There's nothing crazy.
do you have any plugs?
You can, if you're looking for a fun gaming community that is respectable and family friendly, check out ATC Gaming on Facebook. They're also on. We're also on Instagram. Get a bunch of cool things, a bunch of cool screenshots. The community's great, and you don't have to worry about your kids hearing about horrible, vulgar things that they already hear on Xbox.
Cool. Good stuff. Okay, so you can once again follow our podcast on WAITSB Podcast on Twitter
Ooh.
and Instagram. I went into automatic mode. Do not follow us on Twitter. There's no point because Twitter is dead. Hate it. Follow Instagram, WAITSB Podcast. Also, you can follow me on Instagram, WAITSB Podcast. I am just a failure. You can follow me not at WAITSB Podcast.
And you can still follow
You can follow
as
me
well,
at Luke Roxwold, ROCKSWOLD. I love that I'm like this whole podcast for all the
Need an
openings
oil
and
change.
closings. It's been on automatic mode, but it's a little off. Stop. We're good. It's
been fun.
Follow me on Instagram. I've been posting a lot of videos and pictures, and it's really interesting.
Also,
Check me out, Luke
really
Roxwold.
this is for
Okay.
you. Don't
It
forget
is.
to
It's fun. Hey,
subscribe to the
it's fun.
podcast
Follow
on
me,
Google Play
okay?
Music
and
do
I
you post it to YouTube
Okay, what?
and Stitcher, not just Apple. You're welcome.
and Stitcher.
Yes. Oh, I forgot to say. Oh, this is what happens when you go multiple weeks without doing the podcast. You forget everything you're supposed to do as a host. Follow us
Honestly.
on everything: SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. Pff, boom. Follow my Instagram, Luke Roxwold, LUKEROCKSWOLD. I post a lot of good stuff. Follow our Instagram. Just whatever. I'm done, guys. This episode's over. Is everyone ready? Outro.
Get out of here.
All right, stop.